It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman, and this is the Forum on Eagle Community Television. Good to have you watching, because this could be theoretically probably the fastest forum we've ever had. Not in time, but in speed. Our guest is Cory Keehn, and he has just recently qualified for the U.S. Olympic trials for the marathon. There's more to that story, but we'll get back to that in a second. First off, welcome to the program, Cory.
Oh, thank you.
Now, when we were walking in here, you look like a runner. I run, but I don't look like a runner. You're a runner. How many miles do you run a week to give the audience a chance to understand what you do?
I try to shoot for about 90 to 100 miles a week.
And what does that consist of when you talk about you just don't go run from here to Salina?
No. Most days I try to hit somewhere between 15 to 20 miles. Every day is just a little different. Sometimes I'll do probably 2 hard workouts a week in a long run. My 2 hard workouts, one will be kind of a longer tempo and one will be speed work, and then do 20-plus mile long run on a Saturday.
So if that doesn't get you encouraged to take up the sport of running, here's what it gets you. And Cory, tell us a little bit, because you qualified for the U.S. Olympic trials. You ended up not going to those trials, but what did it take to qualify?
Lots and lots of work, lots of time. It takes about 20 to 30 hours a week to train at this level, at least where I'm at right now. I know if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be getting out the door every day. It's hard to consistently do that, and so if it wasn't for her encouragement, I don't think I would have hit that time.
So what was the experience? You went to Houston to do the initial run, and you actually ran a different length of race, but you ran it quick enough that you qualified for a marathon for the time trials anyway. So what was that race like?
I'd never raced anything above a 10K before, so the half marathon was quite an experience. I really didn't know what to expect. I talked with some guys before, or the day before the race, and they kind of told me different times they were shooting for, so I just thought, I'll just stick with these guys and hang with them as long as I can. If I fall off, oh well. If I hang with them, great. And I end up hanging with them and beating a few of them, so it's a pretty good day.
You had to beat an hour and 5 minutes to run, 13.1 miles, and you did it in just over an hour, 1 hour, 4 minutes and some change, correct?
Yes, yeah.
And that then puts you in for the trials to be able to do that for the full marathon. What was it like in the race? Were there a lot of runners that were in this qualifying race?
Yeah, I'd say I met probably 10 to 12 guys the day before who were all trying to hit a standard for the trials, and some of them were foreign athletes just trying to be the top of their nation, and so yeah.
How hard was the last mile?
Honestly, the last mile is usually not quite the toughest, because at that point you're just running on adrenaline, because you only have less than 5 minutes to go. And so for me, the last mile is not so hard.
It's about 10 minutes for me in that last mile. So.
But about 3 miles to go, I was really, really hurting. And at that point, you just kind of have to shut off your mind and just run with the guys you're around. And then once you get to the last mile, you just keep your legs moving.
Yeah. Now you graduated from Fort Hays State. And once you graduated, you're now in the Leadership Studies program over there. Tell us a little bit about what happened, though. You had the time trials a few weeks ago, and when you talk about being in leadership studies, you ended up not participating in the trials. Why is that?
Well, my wife and I had decided to go down to a Weekend to Remember. It's a marriage conference. We decided that last summer, and I didn't really think I was going to be in good enough shape to qualify for the trials. But when I did, I decided that my marriage is more important than my running, and I wanted to make sure that she knew that she was more important than my sport, and so that was the main reason why I didn't go.
Well, you had mentioned earlier on the support it takes to do that when you're doing the training. I've been told that as well, that if you're out running, you have to have somebody to help at home to make sure things happen. Obviously, you played that as well. So what are your next steps in running? What do you want to do next?
Well, God's given me an ability to run, and I like to use that to encourage, inspire other people. That's my first motivation. If I'm training just solely for a championship or a title, those things kind of pass away after a while. But encouraging others and spreading the gospel through athletics, that's never going to pass away. And so right now, I'm looking forward to a new platform at a higher level, one of those being the USA 15K Championships, and that's coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I know when that comes up, you'll have a chance to run in the 15, and where will that be?
That'll be in Jacksonville, Florida.
Because I think when this program plays, you'll actually be running this weekend based on when the program's going to play. And so if you go in that, the travel time down there, how do you prepare for a race like that's that caliber with that level of runner?
To be honest, I don't really know. I'm just still winging it. The Houston race was my first professional race. So I'm still just trying to learn the ropes right now. I just travel down there and follow all the other older runners and hopefully learn some wisdom from them.
Well, Cory, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about how you got started in running. You're a Kansas kid, but actually from the eastern part of Kansas, and then maybe the long-term goals of being able to run long-term and what you can do next down the road as well. Our guest is Cory Keehn, and he's a runner who is just qualified to compete in the Olympic trials, and we'll be running some other races here coming up. Our program is brought to you by Hayes Med. Back after this.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum program. If you want to go running later on, you can probably join Cory and I. He'll be the guy way out in front. You can join us, but if you have another idea for a program, some things that you'd like to hear and see on this show, let me know. It's at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net, or you can find us on Facebook under ECTV Forum. Friend us there and we'll have a list of the programs we have. You can also check us out on Facebook where we have a list of our programs that we've recorded. You can go back and check on those as well. Program is brought to you by Hayes Med, and our guest is Cory Keehn. Cory qualified to win or to participate in the U.S. time trials for the marathon. Didn't participate in that, but had some future races coming up. We went into the break talking about his history, what put him in this spot. Where'd you grow up, Cory?
I grew up in Soldier, Kansas. It's about an hour northwest of Topeka.
Did you grow up running? Did your mom just chase you everywhere?
No, they kicked me out of the house because I was such a troublemaker. No, both my parents were runners in college. They both really enjoyed it. They never forced it on me. In fact, I begged them to run my first mile race 3 days before I turned 3. They weren't really a fan of that, but they decided to let me do it, and that was my first race. And so.
Now, you'll run different races along the line. Did you participate in cross country then in high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did cross country and track in high school.
Both of those. And then at Fort Hays State, you have, and I was just looking here, a couple of the things. You had your 4th MIAA title in 2015. You've got a couple of things. You've won the 3,000, the 5,000 meter indoor, and you've also won the 10,000 meter and 5,000 meter. So you've racked up some points for the Fort Hays team as well.
Yeah, and Coach McCullough is mostly to thank for that.
So who does your coaching, by the way? You mentioned going into, kind of your first race that was down in Houston, mm-hmm. and now you have your second that's it's a professional type of race. Mm-hmm. Who coaches you on that? Who helps?
Coach McCullough still is providing me a lot of insight and guidance. He's done a great job with me throughout my college career, and so he's kind of been overseeing my training and helping me stay on the straight and narrow.
One of the things I know your training is part of, and you look the way you do because you got to eat right, you have the right kind of fuel to make sure that you have the right energy to do that, because you're mm-hmm. running a long race of that distance. It takes a lot of calories to go through that.
Yeah, definitely.
If you look down the road, 23, your age, when do runners in the Olympics, because you guys said you're not going to qualify this time mm-hmm. for the Olympics, how long can you keep running and stay in, I say, competition shape to participate at that level?
Provided that I don't have any setbacks because of injuries. Most the Olympic marathoners are somewhere between 28 and 32 years old. That seems to be pretty typical. I mean, there's some younger, some older, but for the most part, they fall in that range. And so that's kind of what I'm shooting for, is that peak around 28 to 30. So for me, long-term goals, I'm thinking the next Olympics for the marathon. It just takes years and years and years to develop your body to be able to handle the amount of miles it takes to train for a marathon, because running the distance is one thing, but racing it is totally different.
You know, you see some people in the marathons, they look, and you're one of those runners where if you finish a half marathon in just a little over an hour, make it look easy. But easy only comes because of the practice that goes into it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's not easy. I find that if I let my form drop or my face get all, contorted, then I don't run relaxed anymore. And so that's one strategy I have when I'm racing, is I try to run as smooth and as relaxed as possible. Because once you start tensing up, then you start getting cramps, and before you know it, you're no longer racing well.
So you came from Soldier, Kansas, out to Fort Hays. Why the move to Fort Hays?
Mostly because of Coach McCullough. I'd been looking for a college coach who cared more about character than he did about athletic performance. And at the college level, especially Division I, Division II, that's hard to find. And when I met Coach McCullough, I knew he was that type of guy, and he would be one who would help me develop my character as well as my athletic career. And so that's why I chose to come to Fort Hays.
For those that are out here who are runners and have run 5Ks, what will you run a 5K in if you're out running?
I ran a 14:24 last year in indoor, and I haven't ran 5K really since then.
What about a 10K?
I ran 29:44 last track season, and I ran 29:50 in cross.
Very cool. Well, those are fast times, and if you're out running, don't try to keep up with this guy. But if you do see him, what do you wear? Do you have Fort Hays tape when you're out wearing, or what do you wear when we see you out running? Because when you run 90 to 100 miles a week, we're going to see you running around somewhere.
Yeah, you'll either see me in my short running shorts or my long tights, depending on the weather.
Okay. Well, good luck as you go through these next races coming up. Wish you the very best. Congratulations on that, and keep pushing forward and keep us informed as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Cory Keehn has been our guest here on the Forum program. The Forum is brought to you by Hays Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Hays Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hays Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hays Med, helping people be healthy.